yes. Yeah, and so we have 45 minutes for this. So I share the screen and it's in here. I wonder if I get that picture bigger. I shall see. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I suppose that now my voice goes around. I cannot speak like this. It's circulating. Where does it go?
Okay, let's see if we take our microphone off. That's a suggestion. Can you hear your? I will take the mic off for a while if it changes.
And now I'm testing and speaking. Yeah. Now anyway, now it doesn't go around. So it is good.
Okay, I will keep the mic muted so you don't hear any questions from us for a while, okay?
Yes. Okay. So now it began again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it doesn't sound okay. We shall see how it will go. And you see this first slide here, the outer world images contaminated and so on. I suppose everybody sees that. Okay. And I begin from the biggest picture, the background of dreams and everything. So what is my background? It's quite big. It's the whole universe. And this is part of it. So that dreams are in a way our main topic, but it's I go much much further here. Anyway, dreams are the mother of mental images. Images in religions, in arts, in myths and fantasies and fairy tales, illusions, delusions, and hallucinations. And dreams are the inner world images which are non-contaminated by our waking ego. But all these other are contaminated by our waking ego, religions, arts, everything, because our waking ego is so clever and tries to take advantage of every image and picture, like we know. Okay, and here under the dreams are, it's beyond dreams, and the next is here. Factor X, it in a way casts shadows, and which are dreams, into our daytime world. And dreams are as wormholes between our innermost psychical factors and outer space, our daily life. And of course, we cannot see it because it is beyond recognition. That's why it's factor X. And it can be called, of course, factor X can be called samadhi, God, you name it, whatever. But that factor X, I think, is the best neutral expression for that. And sleep, we are talking and practicing sleep images, which are REM sleep images, so that dreams are here between factor X and waking state. And here, like a physicist David Bohm has made written about it, we can say that this is perceptual order. What our perception can understand it. But explicate order, then it is not anymore beyond, it is not anymore in our, so we cannot experience it. And the most high is implicate order. And it's the highest like that, this implicate order contains space and time. Space and time do not contain this, but this contains space and time. And okay, then we can say factor X, whatever. And dreams are like beacons. They are mediators that convey from the deeper layers inside us to the waking state and get waking state impressions. Those dreams then reflect them, so that, and these are always active, day and night, but we don't recognize it when we are awake. So this same process is always on. And dream groups, we as dream groups, we try to broaden our cognition a little bit further, so that we are partly on this sleep sleep state, and that state is non-judging, non-analyzing, and we know it best in our emotions, because dreams are metaphors in motion, like my teacher Montagu Ullman said. So dream groups cannot go much further, so that, but this is that work we do about 3 hours per one dream. And but about individuals, and individuals can spontaneously go further. Spontaneous individual experiences may lead still deeper, even beyond dreams. And okay, these are mostly religious experiences, mystical experiences, transpersonal experiences, what we can take from factor X back to this waking state. And this is that Montagu Ullman's dream satellite. Dreams are like satellite view over our lifespan, to the past and to the future. It's much broader. Our day consciousness cannot see the whole picture. And okay, then now I go to the physical part of this presentation. and its connection to dreams and our cognition, and with kind of connection it has to especially to Western civilization. The most important duality through human body and mind is brains. One semiballs, this and this duality. Why then? Why do we have two hemispheres instead of one sphere, one ball? Why is it like this? These are almost separate from each other. Only corpus callosum is the mediator. This red part is mediating signals between those, and the main signal comes from the right hemisphere. So, okay, brain is an organ whose main function is to connect, of course. And why is that organ, which is especially connects everything, why then it is the why is the brain divided? Why is it divided? It sounds paradoxical. And the higher the species is on the evolutional ladder, the more divided their brain is. So that the higher species, the more divided the brain is. Again, it's paradoxical. Why more and more that quote so that the connecting part compared to the whole brain volume has become smaller and smaller under the evolution. So why? Okay, so that means that evolution has to have some purpose for that. And so the brain's so extreme division must have some meaning. What is that some basic role for the survival of the species with this divided, with this kind of divided brains? And this is Ian McElchrist, and it is a very interesting work. It is a meta study about if I remember it right, about 2,000 experiments and patient cases and so on and so on. And these are his names. The right hemisphere is master, and the left hemisphere is emissary. So this book is based on thousands of neurological and neuropsychological research of split brain and other types of central nervous system patients. And it links research results to human consciousness and Western cultural history changes through centuries. McGilchrist tells in his book that this old tale. Once upon a time, there was a wise emperor, which is master the right hemisphere. Wise emperor who sent emissaries to take care of his country, which was too wide for him alone to rule. His most clever clever emissary began to see his master's gentle wisdom as a weakness and finally dethroned his master, bringing the kingdom eventually to ruin. The present mental atmosphere of Western civilization is dominated mainly by emissary, mainly by the left hemisphere. So now specialization, a necessary requirement for survival. What is this? The differentiation, the specialization of hemispheres, I call them right and left hemi, and this has a big importance, this specialization. Okay, instead of one sphere, which is jack of all trades, master of none. Instead of that brains have evolved to two top specialists with radically different perceptions of the world. We have, in a way, two human beings in our brains, which are very, very different. And this perceptual specialization is one of the factors which have helped us to survive. The advantage of two hemis is that both are able to work effectively in their own way without being disturbed too much by another hemis different way to work. And corpus callosum is a gate which controls the information flow between them. It not only advances, it has also a brake functions. So when it regulates this information flow here. Okay, and now some main differences of hemispheres activities. In this hemisphere, we have science and reason, as Ian McGilchrist describes it. The right hemisphere is a home for intuition and imagination. Science and reason in waking consciousness. It is instrumental, manipulative, goal-oriented, interpretational. It's very advanced to handle all kinds of information and manipulate them. But dream consciousness is emotional and based on experiences, not any analysis, it is not manipulative, it is not instrumental, goal-orientated. No, it lives in that emotional state all the time. And when I was young, nobody understood the right hemisphere because it's so different. Because then it's 50, 60, when this bigger studies began. And of course, those devices within these experiments were invented by left hemisphere. Dream consciousness cannot invent that kind of things. And left hemi made tools for that study and found nothing, because it is not at all what we expected, what the researchers expected. And that's why I remember very clearly when I was in school, we talked about the silent hemisphere because we did not understand it. The left hemi has indirect contact with nature. The right hemi has direct contact with nature. Left hemi's attention is very focused, exact focused, but right hemi's is not at all focused attention. It's a general attention to everything, very different cognitive function. Left hemi's it's primacy of methods and means. Left hemi has them. Right hemi has only primacy of experience. Left hemi's qualities. Left hemi exists in the self-constructed map-like world, which it believes to be the only reality. Left hemi cannot have a direct access to the world. That's why it is living its in that kind of shadow world which it has constructed, and it believes to be the only reality. But it has supremacy over right hemi through language. Right hemi doesn't know the language. Logic, right hemi does not have it. And it is explicit, clear, detailed. Its thinking is unambiguous. And it's even over explicit. And that is a negative thing in there, so that the left hemi thinks that it only can know what the world is, but it doesn't know. Right hemi is the home of emotions, intuition, imagination, creativity, capacity for religious awe, music, dance, poetry, art, dreams, love of nature, and sense of humor. Left hemi is seeing only its own self-fabricated reality, and therefore acting accordingly in its typical Western world style. Western world is dominated by these qualities. We live in a technical era, and all kinds what a clear and clever thinking can do, and Western world appreciates it more than the right hemi's qualities. And in order to really understand dreams and art, we need more help from the right hemi. Ian McGilchrist says about the left hemi that it's not about what the two hemispheres do, because they both do everything, but have a completely different view of the world. And unfortunately, the left hemisphere sees less, understands less, and is a much purer guide to the nature of reality. But technically and analytically, it is clever and much, much better than right hemi. Evolutional necessity is to eat and avoid to be eaten. A bird sees food and it focuses it, something to eat. the bird's right hemi is not focusing. Its awareness of the whole environment for new or emotionally arousing processes as predators or potential mates, and it must have these two types of consciousness all the time simultaneously. It has to be cautious so that the fox does not eat it, and it has to concentrate at the same time simultaneously where the food is. And then when we have two hemispheres, they can concentrate to their own most important activities. One whole brain is not so effective, but these two hemispheres are. Here is that right hemisphere is presenting, it is living here and now. Right hemisphere is receiving enormous amount of sensory input directly, sending its impressions to the left hemi for processing. But left hemi is representing. It gets material from the right hemi and begins searching for precise analysis, theories, interpretations, classifications for the material sent from the right hemi. Then it begins to study how to express that what the right hemi sends to it. And so it leaves is what it knows and tries to represent this back to hemi, right hemi, but in organized form. This is unorganized river which flows to the left side. Okay. And dreaming is the same. If we take this as dreamers, hemis, dreamer sees dreams, and dreamer begins to think, what is that? And we know that we have seen wonderful dreams. We begin to think, what does that mean? And the left hemi tries to find words. What does that mean? Then left hemi sends his findings back to the right hemi. In the worst case, it sends back interpretations, and that is the worst case. The majority of dream interpretation books are written like this, by and for the left hemi. And in the best case, left hemi finds rich metaphors, not interpretations, but rich metaphors. And metaphors are the only way what links language to life. Left hemi sees separate entities. It has divided. Everything is A leads to B to C, and long logic chains, A to B to C, etc. Right, that is left hemisphere. Right hemisphere way is not leading A to B. It is ever-flowing, large, complex, living richness, and this is the way of dreams. What does this dream image in here means? Left hemi is seeing indefinite blobs, white and black and so on. And that is, so for left hemi, it is hard to understand. This might be some kind of, this represents the dream image in here, this example. But right hemi recognizes the Dalmatian dog. This is dog. Its ear, its head, its back, and his feet, front and back. And this is that right hemi's quality, to see intuitively the wholeness in a blinking of an eye. Left hemi cannot do it. And like McGilchrist stresses, okay, they are different, yes, but alone, imagination alone is what I feel is true. Reason alone is what I think is true. And it is not enough, we have to see. And McGilchrist stresses that for imagination, we need both hemispheres, of course. For reason, we need both hemispheres. And for understanding dreams, we need both hemispheres too. Dramatis personae, Freud, Jung, Ullmann. Everybody knows Freud, somebody know Jung, and almost nobody knows Ullmann. Most significant differences between Freud and Jung, there we have always a very, very big difference, with hemispheres. Sigmund Freud tried to build his theory like the Tower of Babel, from details towards wholeness. He even tried to make it a natural science, those dream image studies. But Carl Gustav Jung had completely opposite development. First, he experienced the wholeness, and then he took it to words. And he says, I talk mainly about my inner experiences where my dreams and visions belong to. I hit upon this stream of lava, and the heat of its fires reshaped my life. They are the prima materia for a lifetime's work. So from the experiences, powerful experience, that was the basis for Jung, but that was not the basis for Freud. For Freud, it was intelligence, extremely clever man. And this is Jung, and in this with the blue text is the most important thing is here. Freud believed in knowledge, and we could find always answers for our questions. But Jung said, when he became older, there is nothing I am quite sure about. I have no definite convictions not about anything really. And this development is that which leads to understanding of dreams. Freud's way does not. Freud's way has basic assumptions which kill the living life. Jung has no basic assumptions anymore. So they represent in a way Hemis again. This is a interesting scientific testing. The normal subject's right hemi was inactivated so that it not take part to this experiment. Then she was asked if the following conclusion is correct. A, all monkeys climb trees. B, the porcupine is a monkey. So, conclusion is the porcupine climbs trees. Is it right or wrong conclusion? It is both, because for the left hemisphere, this conclusion is right. It is correct in relation to logic, because left hemi cannot see any error in the conclusion because it does not see the world. It sees only its own world. It sees only the map, reductive map of the world combined with logic from the material which right hemi delivers to it. But right hemi, which is now out of the play in here, right hemi immediately realizes that the conclusion is incorrect because the right hemi is connected with the world. So right hemi functions in a way as a bullshit detector because it is seeing as a creative artist directly, immediately what is. And we all know people who are this kind of people. And this kind too. So how we could find a balance so that they both are operative. This is my dream teacher, and it was a internationally very known in his dream work. He was psychoanalyst 16 years, and then he understood that psychoanalysis does not lead the right answers. Ullman said once, when we began the dream session in a group, in this room, when I do dream work, one word is forbidden: interpretation. Interpretation is a technical term matching the dream to a theoretical system that is not at all what dream is about. And very shortly about this group, which here we can experience the unifying experience of our common shared human condition. This way. Ullman says, during my 30 years of dream sharing groups, I have seen people grow emotionally faster and more dramatically than anything I ever encountered as a privately practicing psychoanalyst. And he said too, I consider myself a recovering psychoanalyst, unlearning everything my colleagues hold dear. This is a typical experiential dream group. Why group? In a group, we have many lights, many spotlights, many experiences of the world. And it enriches, it makes the understanding of that dream easier. So group is like midwives helping the dreamer to give birth to her dream. But the group does not tell the dreamer what her dream means. It is the dreamer who tells the group what her dream means. And this will be very clear when you are sitting in a group what that means. I go over this, and this is that structure of that dream group session. We go through all these light stages and try to get a balance so that the group is safe for everybody, but that the group discovers the dream, understands the dream. And this is my personal underlining here. Main keys for understanding dreams is not learning, but unlearning, not knowing, but unknowing. If you want to know something, go elsewhere. If you want to unknow everything, then sit and listen, said Stephen Gray. And here it is what unknowing is. Jung said, it's so difficult to understand dreams that for a long time I have made it a rule that I say to myself, I have no idea what this dream means. After that, I can begin to examine the dream. Ullman, he says that it is to distance myself from what I think I know about dreams generally, and this particular dream specifically, so that all a priori assumptions are drained out of my system. Only then do I feel properly prepared to receive what is being conveyed to me from the dreamer. Barry Marshall was the discoverer of Helicobacter pylori, the cause of stomach ulcers, and he said in his 2005 Nobel Prize in Medicine, where he got prize for this, that the greatest obstacle to discovery is not ignorance, it's the illusion of knowledge. Note the connection to creative arts and religious, spiritual, transpersonal experience. I have no idea. I drain out all my pre-configured assumptions. Confucius said it very clearly. Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's own ignorance. But how to find this real knowledge? You cannot find it by meditations, prayers, yoga, mindfulness, science, any external or internal exercises and techniques. You cannot find this real knowledge, not even by dream groups and arts, not even by them. But they can be like a compass. These are the most important qualities, inside qualities. Honest sincerity, truthfulness, authenticity. These are the qualities of the inner compass we all have. They are absolutely necessary on our journey towards complete unknowing. We feel them in our hearts, but we don't know how to listen to them. There are no tricks, no methods, no anything. These are the only compasses which can show the way to real unknowing. But dream groups are among the most significant external gateways to learn more of our true authenticity. And this has been my very personal experience. I have had dream groups now 40 years, and I am continuously, I love the visions, what only the dream images can show to us. Yeah, okay, I have a little time to go with this. Now we go to mathematics, and it has a very interesting example, one there. Stephen Strogat's Infinite Powers, How Calculus Reveals the Secrets of the Universe. He says always with this most fantastic results the mathematics can find. First comes always intuition, and rigor comes later, so that intuition has led the researchers to their findings. The most intelligent math goes on in the right hemi. Again, right hemi, because right hemi has this Gestalt recognition, finding meaningful relations in areas, as in dreams, which have been unreachable with logic. But logic comes to testify what the intuition has found. And it is a pure exercise with intuition, what we do in dream groups. Most great mathematicians and scientists, when describing their breakthrough discoveries, don't describe a linear process, they describe an insight. And this is the example I love. There are many more, but in 28, the British physicist Paul Dirac came up with a theory that struck him as beautiful. He chose it largely on aesthetic grounds. He had no particular empirical evidence. No, he did not have it for the theory. Just an artistic sense that its beauty was a sign of its correctness. So, no logic, no proofs, just an artistic sense. And what did he find? Here comes now the left hemi to play. When he solved this theory's equation, that equation predicted that antimatter should exist. And 1 year later, another physicist found it and called it positron. Dirac won a Nobel Prize 33 for his equation found by beauty. The finding led to PET, positron emission tomography. PET scans have a prominent role in saving human lives today. Here this is among the most beautiful examples I have seen when what follows when both hemispheres are collaborating with each other. But intuition comes always first. And that is our dream group goal too. Scientist and mystic. Okay, I go over it. But when those are in collaboration, those hemis, what can you follow about it? Cosmic religion's feeling is the strongest and noblest incitement to scientific research. And the serious scientific workers are the only profoundly religious people. And it is interesting who said this. It was Albert Einstein in his writing Religion and Science in 1930. I saw this too. Primitive religions are based on fear and morality, but there is a third state of religious experience, which I will call cosmic religious feeling. It's the strongest and noblest incitement, inspiration, motivation to scientific research. In this materialistic age of ours, the serious scientific workers are the only profoundly religious people. And it was again Albert Einstein who said this. And you perhaps know who said this. The most beautiful and profound emotion we can experience is the sensation of the mystical. It is the sower of all true science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. To know what is impenetrable to us really exists, manifesting itself as the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty which our dull faculties can comprehend only in their primitive forms. This knowledge, this feeling is at the center of true religiousness. In this sense and in this sense only, I belong to the ranks of devoutly religious men. And it was Albert Einstein again. And thanks for this common journey. That was the presentation. So, what shall we do now? Eki comes there.
Thank you, Markku. Maybe if the students have questions, I will try to close the speakers here.
Yeah. It's so. Yeah. It's okay. So that after 2 days, Thursday, I meet in Zoom you Finnish speaking students, and then we talk more about that practical thing what happens in Dream Group. Okay, then I can end this. So bye this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.